Hello everyone, ockpii here, and on this video I will talk to you about some Floran furniture that Ro showed us, a podcast that contains an interview of the entire Starbound team that I keep forgetting to mention, a very short livestream that Ty made a few days ago about some trees falling and a lot of stuff, a new randomly generated mob, and a very simple tweet from Bartley. Edit! Also, this video will cover the information that was released about the Florans and the screenshots that come along with that post. This video then will feature two recordings. One of them was like last Friday or something, and the other one is today. Today being the 20th of November of 2012. And now, yes, enjoy. Okay, so getting right on it, we see here a Floran that lives on top of a tree, and it looks really cool, and we see some pretty cool textures for the wood blocks. It's kind of weird how they made the edges, because it's like a weird diagonal thingy. And in terms of the background, in terms of where we are, we see that it's nighttime and we are in front of very deep foliage of trees, and we have a very cool tree without any leaves on the corner there. In terms of what's going on, let's check the upper floor. We seem to have a roof made of hay or something like that, and we have some very primitive stuff lying around. This whole thing is very primitive, the whole feel of the Florans and stuff like that. It's all very primitive. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was expecting something a bit more polished. I'm not sure exactly why, but yeah. So we have a very cool bed, and it has a very rough sheet, and then we have this really cool green lamp. Maybe you could change colors by, putting different fireflies to it. I don't know, I'm just making this up. We have a crate, a window, a torch, a small table, and a small bench. And on the lower floor, we have bones, and we have a lot of bones everywhere, even on the bed and on this couch, and we have a small mantle with a painting thingy. Then we have a Floran, and people were wondering if there would be spears here, and here's a spear, so yeah. The table seems to be made out of bones as well, and then we have something hanging on the ceiling there that's also bones, and then we have another type of chair. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about this image in particular. It's interesting how there are two paths to get into the house. Before I forget, on the description there will be a link to a podcast episode, a podcast named The Indie Static Podcast by Josh Mattingly and Chris Priestman. And the second episode of this podcast was actually an interview of the Starbound team. It's basically an interview of the entire team of Starbound. I do believe it's the entire team, I can't exactly remember. And the link for this will be on the description and you can listen to it. I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but it's very interesting, and you should actually listen to it because there is actually some pretty cool information about the game, so you should go listen to it. Another thing that I was about to forget to talk about was that there was a stream. Ty streamed something a few days ago that's called the Tree Falling Demo, in which basically Ty just walks around a bit and takes a few trees down, and we see fire animating and making sounds and particles, and we see some cool sound work of the game here, rather. And we also see some campsites and stuff like that. So Ty's already deleted that stream, and apologies for doing this again, but so there will be a link on the description and the screen right now, and you can go to a YouTube link of the same stream. Ty's already deleted the live stream video, so yeah, it's the same thing that happened last time. Also, one thing that we see in the stream is that when you hold the left control button to move the camera, you can actually see that it sort of stays there, even if you're moving the mouse, so maybe you can just let go of the key to leave the camera there. Perhaps when you tap the control, the camera snaps back into position or something. You can also see a tiny bit of planet-to-planet traveling in this video, which is kind of nice. You should go watch it. It's 11 minutes long, but only like 2 minutes of it are actually proper gameplay, and the remaining 9 minutes are kind of like just sitting around, which is fine as well. Getting back on track, here is a new randomly generated mob, and it's basically a steampunk monkey with a bulldozer attached to it, or something like that. So I'm not sure how you would see this moving or something, or I don't know what it would actually do to you. Maybe just run you over or just collide with you. But it kind of looks like something an Apex would build. Since they are also technological and so advanced, this would be something that they would create, probably. It looks really cool, and I like the little rim that it has on the sides there. And it kind of looks like a sledgehammer with that thing, so maybe the little thing on the back goes forward and the head goes forward as well, and it's sort of like a battering ram. Would be cool. For the final thing in this video, we have this tweet. Bartley tweeted this, and it's a really simple tweet, but it kind of opens up to a lot of stuff that could happen. So maybe certain weapons wouldn't work on certain temperatures, and you can link this to humidity as well, because Cube World, if you're not aware, I have a series on Cube World as well. Cube World actually has humidity and temperature on the upper right corner on the map as well, and we're still not sure exactly what that means. So maybe this is something like that. Maybe humidity and warmth will affect maybe your disposition or the amount of mobs that spawn, or a lot of things. Let me know what you guys would think that this means, or how this would affect the game practically. Let me know, because I'm curious and I'm out of ideas. And finally, let's meet the Florans. It says here that you would expect them to be peaceful, since they are sentient humanoid plants and stuff like that, and they'd be like tree huggers or something like that, but they are actually super aggressive and they're very tribal and they're very primitive, as we've seen by the decoration of the screenshot earlier this video. So basically they are crazy and carnivorous, and they salvage or reverse engineer the technology they bring to enable their colonization of the stars. So basically the primitive Florans were introduced to space traveling, and that basically enabled them to expand over tons and tons of star systems, which was unfortunate and wasn't the plan. Interestingly, each colony has its own customs and levels of aggression. This could open up some interesting gameplay features. So if you found a Floran community on a certain planet, it would be different than finding one on another planet, because they might treat you differently, and if you're in their towns, then they would react differently to different things. Maybe some would just try to kill you instantly, maybe others would just try to be your friends, or just talk to you, or just be kind of like, who's this guy? He smells funny. And they could also look a bit different, you know, by having, you know, different flags or different hairstyles. I don't know, but that would be interesting. Despite this big colonization and expansion and their weirdness, individual Florans apparently have been known to split from their society, and they live as hermits, basically, or with other races, which is kind of interesting as well, because we've seen leaf people always with like avians or stuff like that. So this is basically them aligning themselves or joining forces with other races just because they left. And as such, they are basically cut off from the Floran race, and they are considered, as it says here, enemies of all flora for good. It says here that the Florans are a unisex race. However, their culture values survival through reproduction and expansion over environmentalism. And they're basically detached from any bond to Mother Nature, so they're basically their own thing, sort of. Florans are also known to have cannibalism during funeral rituals and wars with rival factions. It isn't clear if the purpose is to conserve or if it's just a simple tradition of theirs. Their aggressive nature isn't exactly just contempt or just blind anger, but it actually seems to be born from what it says here is a lack of concept of non-plant life. So they basically only understand what plants are, and that basically sets their diplomacy for them. It is implied, however, that Floran individuals might not be inherently evil, as was previously thought, because there are signs of some Florans beginning to question this doctrine of violence and aggression towards everyone. Now I'll quickly go over the two screenshots that they showed on the blog post along with it. So the first one is this one here, which is the close-up of the bigger screenshot, only with different stuff. So what we have here is a nice Floran house, and as we can see, we maintain the basic, you know, hay type of roof. And you can see on the top that the connection between the wood wall and the hay wall is kinda like old school Terraria. And that's fine if you want to stack it like that, but I would like to have a possibility to have them mesh really nicely or stuff like that. So yeah, we have a very cool chandelier here with 4 candle holders thingy. Looks very, very nice. And on the floor here we have very, very cool primitive decoration. So we have furniture with bones, and we have like a tambourine thingy. The bench on the left and the crates don't really look like anything, but we also have the rugs on the wall and the little stuffed cat raccoon dude thingy over there. We have a tiny bench, and we have plants that we've seen already. We have potions, we have a bottle of wine, we have a cool window with the torn up curtain, and we have a big stone in the middle. That's kind of like what Obelix used to carry in Asterix. Regardless, they all have pretty cool hairs. The Floran on the bottom and the Floran on the right have hairstyles that we already know, but the 2 new Florans have stuff that we don't know yet, as for clothing and as for hair. As you can see on the right, we have like a ponytail that goes from the front, and the other one has like a huge flower on the forehead, and kind of like plumber's outfit. Looks really, really cool. Moving on the screenshots, we have this big screenshot, which is basically a wide shot of everything. As you can see, the same house that we were, we can see 2 different Florans, and they look quite nice. We have another set of hairs, and on the left here, we see those cool green lamps that we've seen earlier in the video, and the entrance to the treehouse. Moving up, we have a different type of torches, and we have 2 different Florans. One hair we've seen before, and the color is awesome, like it's super bright pink and stuff. And we see just a blonde guy, and we see a fireplace, and we see a cool horn hanging on the wall, kind of like an elephant. We see the ceiling equivalent of the cool green lamps that we've seen here, and you can see it right here. And overall, I've pretty much covered all there is to see in this image. The environment looks really nice, but wait! What is this here on the roof? This is the first full body shot of a robot, of the robot race that we've seen on the other video. Looks kinda thin. I was expecting it to be less nimble than it looks, but it's still pretty cool. So that's that. That's what they look like. Now we just need to see the mudkips. Oh, by the way, there's an official Starbound contest called Create a Hat going on in the forums, and the link to that will be on the description. Go! And that's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, make sure to click the thumbs up button, or if you disliked it, make sure to click the thumbs down button. But in either case, let me know why, and give me your opinion on the video and on the content that I presented to you. Make sure to check out my other videos if you would like, and if you'd like to be notified whenever I make a new video, make sure to click the subscribe button. Also, feel free to check out my other work. On your screen right now, you have 2 boxes that link to 2 videos of mine. One of them is discussing Cure World number 6, where I basically cover a lot of information that Wally posted on his blog, including classes, city types, and more stuff. And below it is my guide on the Castle Story prototype. A lot of people were having issues with the controls, as you may know if you've been watching my videos, and so I made a video about it. I've been trying to make more videos on it, but it's being complicated, so yeah. Let me know if you would like to see Castle Story gameplay, so yeah. There's recently been a patch as well, so stuff, yeah. And I am off, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!